the example we'll use here is you're going to fly to the Philippines, you're going to stay for 3 weeks, which will not require an extension. We'll pick something easy. Now, I know this is going to involve more flights if you're going from central USA or eastern side of USA. Australia is pretty direct. Again, it just all depends on where you're coming in from. But just for the sake of example, let's just say LAX, Los Angeles. Now, as far as where to land, I cannot emphasize this enough. I highly recommend, unless you're going to go to Manila to meet people there, or there's something you wanted to do in the Manila area. Manila City is not the tropical environment most guys think of when they see the sandy beaches and all that. Imagine more like downtown LA or downtown New York. Aside from the humidity, there's not going to be a whole lot that reminds you of a tropical experience. So that's aside from just issues with the fact that the way the Manila airport was built, it's got like 4 different terminals. So like buildings, it's considered one terminal, but 4 different buildings. So if your goal was to get to Cebu, it makes more sense to fly direct to Cebu, not take a cheap flight to Manila, and then you're going to have to get out of that building, get to another building there at the Manila terminal, which handles the domestic flights. And if you can't get from one building to the next before your flight goes, well, then you miss your flight. It's not very convenient. It's just, I don't know how they're even going to fix it ever. But I highly recommend, unless you're going to go spend time in Manila, you want to go to Makati, you want to go to BGC, or you want to go to, Quezon or whatever. Unless you plan on spending your time in Manila, fly to Cebu, all right? Cebu is it's called the Cebu Mactan Airport. It's right off the coast of Cebu Island, but it's considered part of Cebu. The airport is very simple, very straightforward, very organized. They got taxi queues, they got a My Bus, they got Grab pickup. It's just a much simpler way to get to the Philippines. So again, I can't emphasize enough. Even if it costs a little bit more to fly to Cebu, fly to Cebu. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll type in Cebu. There it is, Mactan Cebu International Airport. Again, if you want to save some money, book in advance. Now, seasonally, right now, I'm shooting this in January. This is when the popular time to go to the Philippines is. It's pretty much you can count on from January to September. That's when it's warm and sunny and you're not going to get a whole lot of rain. From September to end of December is when like the rainy season, the wet season. Again, it changes every year by about a few weeks, but generally that's it. So the prices you're going to see here are for the popular part of the year. You can look at it and you can go, well, here we are, January 19th. You can look and you can go, well, how long can I wait? And then you can pick some general prices, ballpark. As you can see here, if you go on Friday the 13th, it's going to cost you $1,200. However, if you go like even here, which is like 2-3 weeks away, $778. Okay, or you got this one, $708. So let's just say you're flexible. So you're going to leave on the 18th. So now we're going to pick the return flight. So we go on a Wednesday, 2, 3. So here's your third week. It looks like the price for all of this week is $656. As you can see here, if you wanted to leave on a Sunday, for some reason, it's like $50 more. So, let's just make it an even 3 weeks. There we go. There's our 3 weeks. All right. So you got round trip, Los Angeles, Cebu for 3 weeks. And now you just hit the search button. And then it's going to go ahead and give you the results like it did in our previous example. Now, when this list pops up, here's the first thing I do to make my life easier. See these filters up here? Go to here where it says stops, 1 stop or fewer, okay? Now, different people feel different ways about this. Some guys want to get on a nonstop flight. Somehow they just figure, they want to get there without stopping. It's going to be faster. Technically, that's true. But like in California, if you want a nonstop flight to Cebu City, chances are you're going to have to go fly to San Francisco airport. So you got one flight there. You're going to do a stop anyway. And then you'll have to fly to Manila. That's where most of the nonstops go. Again, schedules change all the time. Maybe there's going to be a nonstop to Cebu, but right now, again, I don't know. Maybe we'll stumble on one for it goes nonstop from LAX to Cebu. Usually, that's not available. But I'm not into a nonstop long flight. I have always done a layover, whether it was South Korea. Lately, it's been Taipei. I've gone to Doha. I prefer to break up the flight into two parts. And the reason is that way at the layover, and always get a 3 to 4 hour layover. Do not book a flight with a 2-hour layover or less. If anything goes wrong, if your flight leaves late, arrives late, the schedule changes, or you get lost in the terminal and you don't get to your gate on time, you miss your flight. So I always book with a 3 to 4 hour layover. Again, the reasoning is I want to refresh myself. I want to get off the plane. I want to stretch my legs, walk around, get my blood going, get something to eat. I've found lounges at various airports, and I can go in usually for about $60. There's a buffet. There's all the coffee I want. The one in Taipei, the Oriental Lounge, they even include free wine if you want. I usually have like a glass of wine before I get on the plane just to kind of relax. For the one price, not only do you get food and Wi-Fi, a quieter atmosphere, more comfortable couch or recliners and stuff, but you can also take a shower. And it makes all the difference to stop halfway on your flight, take a shower, have a good meal, some coffee, relax, check your email, whatever, your Facebook, and then you finish out your flight. To get from California, stopping at, say, Taipei, that's, I believe, about 15 hours, and then I do a 4-hour layover, which gives me a nice, relaxed experience. I jump fresh on the plane after a shower and all that, and then it's only about 3-4 hours, and I'm landing in Cebu, and I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm good. I'm landing at like 11 in the morning, and everything's groovy. So let's get back over here to our example. So you got these different options, okay, for our 3-week trip. Now, you got here $656 round trip. Now, that's flying Korean Air. They do one stop, which is at Incheon. I love this flight. I used to take this all the time. After COVID, they stopped doing it for a while, and I started doing Ava Air, which I've been very happy with. But now they have the route back again. I highly recommend this. Now, when I was doing it, they had Delta was doing the second part of the flight. It looks like now that might be Asiana Airlines. So, here you got it right here at the top. You got your 3-week round trip flight for $656. Okay. So let's say that this is the one you want. You don't want to pay $800, $700, whatever. So you do select flight. Okay. Now, this is important. Let's say you want to do the Korean Air one. Again, I highly recommend it. The terminal at Incheon is beautiful. To me, I consider it second to the one at Singapore. It's kind of hard to outdo Singapore. But the one at Incheon, it's like 2 huge buildings. You'll get plenty of exercise. You'll have plenty of time to get to your gate. They have free showers. You don't even have to pay for a lounge. You can get a free shower. Just show them your onward ticket. They'll give you a towel and schedule for time in the shower. So they have plenty of food options. They got a little robot that'll take you to your gate. It wanders around. You just tell it, hey, where's gate whatever, and it'll say follow me. You just follow the little robot. So I love Incheon. You decide, okay, I want the Korean Air experience. I'm not interested in Asiana, which is good also. I've flown Cathay Pacific. They're very good. Korean Air and Cathay Pacific, it's kind of a tie which one has, the prettiest flight attendants. But they're both very, very nice. So let's say you want to fly Korean Air. Okay, so you do the little pull down thing. All right, you do select flight. Here's the thing: when you're going to book your ticket, this is very important. With your onward ticket, it doesn't matter. Go for the cheapest price. When it comes to your real flight that you're going to get on the plane and put your baggage on that plane, if you want the Korean Air flight, do not book it through these third-party providers. The reason being, if you take your flight and something goes wrong, a flight is canceled, your luggage gets lost, any kind of problem comes up. If you book directly through Korean Air, which is the option is right up here at the top, okay, to book directly with Korean Air, if you do that, then if anything goes wrong in the terminal, you can go to the desk that they have for Korean Air and you can say, hey, where's my luggage? Or my flight got delayed, or my flight got canceled. What do I do? And they will handle it. A human being standing in front of you will take care of it. But if you book through any of these third-party providers for your ticket and something goes wrong, you can go to the desk and they're not going to help you. They're going to tell you, call the 800 number for who booked your ticket, and they will help you. And you can imagine how stressful that's going to be, trying to deal with, the little press 2 for this and 5 for that, and trying to get hold of a human being. And, there you are in the airport. And that's assuming you're going to be able to even make any calls if you have Wi-Fi or a roaming service on your phone or whatever. So I highly recommend, when you're ready to book your ticket, if you want the Korean Air flight, do not book it with third party. Book it directly. One thing you really want to pay attention to is, again, get a 3 to 4 hour layover, which you will have in Hong Kong. So actually, this is pretty nice. You can go from Boston all the way to Cebu with only one stop in Hong Kong. I guess if there's any one last warning, I have tried and others have tried getting cheap flights through China Eastern, China Southern. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'm telling you, delayed flights, canceled flights, getting redirected to another airport, no English spoken. You do not want to be in that nightmare. It happened to me. I was literally fearing for my life that I was just going to fall in the cracks in China. Nobody spoke English. Nobody cared to help me. I was just thankful to get out. So I would recommend just stick with the main carriers. There's plenty of good ones. Korean Air, Cathay, so a lot of people like Philippine Air, me not personally. There's Ava Air, which I've really liked. There's some good airlines out there. So, the major ones are great. But I would not take any flight that goes through mainland China. All right. So if you have any questions, just bring them up there. Or if you want to share your experiences with, again, tips and hacks, things to avoid or things to do when booking your flight, feel free to share those in the comments. All right. See you there.